I was waiting until January 5th to introduce this, but then again, get one before Christmas, my body kept telling me, and my mind kept telling me, because Christmas is a time of miracles. And I got a miracle story for you right now. Welcome to this edition of the Brian Snow Show. I am he, and the guest that I have for you this afternoon has a story that feels less like a testimony and more like a miracle. She survived the kind of trauma that should have ended everything. And yet, the good Lord used it to awaken something powerful within her. She fought her way back from darkness with her faith as an anchor, love as her lifeline, and a spirit that refused to stay broken. Hey, that sounds familiar. Her journey isn't just resilience, it's revelation. And she's here to tell her story right now. Please help me welcome Victoria Burmeister. Good afternoon, Victoria. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing great. All right, girl. Let's hear it. Let's have it. Let's have this miraculous story. I've been waiting to hear it. I'm dying to hear it. Let's have it.
Wow. Well, where would you like me to start?
What? Well, let's start at the beginning. What was the trauma that you had to come back from?
All right. So, when I was 19 years old, I had bought my first car. It was an 81 Citation X11. And I had my boyfriend do the test drive because I figure if there was anything wrong, he would know and be able to tell those things. So he did the test drive and everything felt fine to him. So when I got into the car and proceeded to drive it home, it didn't feel okay to me. I was
Mm,
having problems with the second gear shifter fork.
hmm
And I thought, well, I'll just have Richard look at it when I get to his house. So when I got there, he looked at it and he said that it looked fine. That I just wasn't as familiar with driving a stick shift, and
Right.
now I was gonna have to get used to it.
hmm
So I thought, okay, it's the getting used to it process. And the whole week that I had the car, I would say probably 85% of the time, I had a problem downshifting to second gear, going
hmm
into it, at any point. And sometimes it would take and sometimes it wouldn't. But
Ooh.
the day of the accident, it was a Friday, and we were at his parents' house, and we were leaving to go cruising, and I left before he did.
hmm
And I was going into a 25-mile-an-hour corner. I downshifted. It wouldn't take second. I tried again. It wouldn't take. I tried third. It was like stuck in neutral.
Oh
So
no.
I ended up hitting gravel that was on the side of the road, and then I hit a tree. And the whiplash motion broke my neck. The third vertebrae slid over the fourth, taking the spinal cord with it. Doctors said the higher you damage your spinal cord, the more damage that's done to the body. Well, it wasn't completely severed, but it was damaged. So you can see I don't have use of my fingers, but I can use my arms and I have feeling and sensation all the way down to my toes, which for that high of a level of injury, I shouldn't be feeling anything or moving my arms. Doctors will look at me and they'll say, I thought you were a quad. I said, I am, but I'm an incomplete quad. So I said, God just had other plans for me, I guess. And then 6 years ago, I suffered a hemorrhagic stroke
Mm.
at the base of my brainstem. And doctors basically were telling my family, don't hold your breath because she may not come back from this. And I remember I told the doctor it seemed like 10 minutes went by for me to get it out. But I told him, okay, I know I've got the spinal cord injury, but this stroke business has got to go. I am not doing the stroke. And he said he knew then that I was going to be okay. So 4 days later, I came home and I worked with PT and OT like 2 or 3 times during the week, and the rest was on me. And 4 months later, by the grace of God, the facial droop and the speech impediment were completely gone. And I don't speak as fast as I used to. I get up there, but then my dyslexia kicks in and I got to slow it down a little bit. So I just take what God has given back to me and be grateful. And, it was twice that I faced um, situations that I could have died, and God has a purpose for me, and He's revealing it more and more every day.
I'm going to do this in honor of my buddy, A Pizzle, but this is for you, my dear. You survived a couple of major events and you're here. And as Pizzle always says, two-time. So you're a two-time survivor and a two-time champion. What what keeps you going every day?
Well, my faith and relationship with God and my kids, my grandkids, seeing them happy and thriving, it just, I know that I raised them with the skills, everything that they needed to be productive, decent human beings, and they saw struggle. They never suffered because I never showed them that. There was always something that was made possible, and it was always by the grace of God that we survived what we went through when their dad left us. And it was scary, but um, they know mom is a survivor. They know I'm resilient, and they know that I will figure it out. And they do the exact same thing.
This is one of the
That's
stories that I
yeah,
love.
that's what makes me happy.
This is one of the stories that I love having on the air with me, a story of resilience, because I survived two major events myself, blood clots in both my lungs and stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And like you, I'm not supposed to be here, but God's grace was on me and my family.
Amen.
Uh, I share this a lot with tears in my eyes, but I don't care. But there's a beautiful lady named Jody who I have been happily married to. And there's also a beautiful young lady named Sonia who rode to the rescue when the blood clots happened. If it weren't for those two, I wouldn't be here telling my story and definitely would be here helping you telling your story. So there is a lot to anchor in faith, is there not? For everybody to keep going every day.
Yes, there is.
And it's crazy with what you survived and what you've gone through, the accidents and everything. And were you told at any time that there's no way you either are supposed to survive or can survive either of those two events? And when you were told that, how did you feel?
When I sued General Motors, the car dealership that sold me the car, and I had a personal attorney, the doctors only gave me a life expectancy of 49 years.
Oh wow.
And I'm happy to say I'm 57 years young and going strong. So, 49 years came and went, and I kicked it out of the out of the park. So um, when I found out that they had given me that age, I was like, it can't end then. It, 20 years didn't seem like a whole lot of time to enjoy the life that I was going to be experiencing from a chair. And I'm like, no, God's got a different plan. I know He does. And He's revealing that every day. And it's just, He makes things happen. Look, we just started chatting, and boom, we're doing this interview. It's just divine timing, and I'm a firm believer in it.
So am I. When I was 49 when I had gotten diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It's 2021. And when my wife and I drove down to North Carolina from Indiana to get a scan of the tumor that I had, they said they couldn't operate on it and there was nothing they could do. And my wife was the first one that said, And then part of my brain came back from the chemo, and anyone who has gone through chemotherapy knows that chemotherapy is a poison. And I had to learn that the hard way, not just from seeing it with my dad, but going through it myself with me. And I took oral chemotherapy, and I was only on it for 3 months, 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. But it still messed me up, and it still messes me up to this day. And like you, I can declare that I too am in my 50s. I am 53. I'll be 54 next July, celebrating more birthdays with my family, celebrating my family's birthdays, including my wife, whose birthday is a month ahead of mine. But there's a reason, and I truly believe there's a reason I'm here doing this particular show, telling the stories of the underdogs. And when you're not given a chance to live, when you're not given a chance to survive, when it seems like everyone closes the door, and I'll throw this to you, it just seems like God says, yeah, I got a key for that door and I'm going to put it right here. Doesn't it
Right?
feel that way?
Exactly.
This is, folks, one of my favorite stories that I've had, a story of survival, perseverance, resilience. And if you know of someone that has a story like that, wants me to tell it on this show, get a hold of me at snowmanmultimedia@gmail.com. Victoria Burmeister is my guest, and I hope you come back for another one. I'd love to have you back.
Well, I would love to do that.
You got it. Thank you, Victoria. This was an honor and this was a pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I
This has been the Brian Snow Show that you can hear every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And the preceding has been a presentation of Snowman Multimedia.